Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the How Did You Learn to Do That podcast. Thank you so much for all the love and the support since we've launched, and we appreciate you coming back this week for our third episode. I'm looking forward to having you join us weekly as we release new episodes every Monday. I hope the stories that we share help you to explore and set you on your journey to finding your purpose in life. We would really appreciate and love if you could please share and subscribe and like us on all our social media accounts, our YouTube, checking out our blog, and sending us any questions you may have about content you would like us to share, podcasts you would like us to record, or people that you would like us to interview that are doing something that you're interested in. You can send that information to us through our website. There's a contact form and you can send that information there. All right, so let's get into today. So today we'll be talking about self-reflection. And it's just going to be me today. So I am going to do a solo podcast every other week. And every other week we will have a guest joining us to talk about their story and how they are on their journey to discovering their purpose in life and what they're doing. So how do you know what your mind, your body, and your soul are trying to tell you? How do you receive those messages? How do you even find them? How do you even know to go there? Well, self-reflection is the first step and is the key to getting you to understand what your body is trying to tell you. What is the deeper meaning to what you are feeling, what you are experiencing, and the events in your life and why they are occurring. To master self-reflection is critical to living a life of peace, of harmony, of just joy and happiness and appreciation and gratefulness. So let's get started. So what exactly is self-reflection? Self-reflection is the slowing down of your feelings, your thoughts, and your experiences, particular to an event, an issue you may be addressing or dealing with, or really any aspect of your life, whether it's your work, your family life, your personal life, just anything. Why do you feel that way? And why is that important to you? And why does that seem not as important to you? What are the reasons behind that? Or why do you have a lot of anxiety when you start thinking about certain things versus other things? Or why did a certain comment trigger you or irritate you in a specific way that other comments may not have, or the tones or things like that? So we all have different things, different tones, different actions, different types of body language, facial expressions, or even content that reacts within us differently than other people. And it's often because of certain things that we have experienced. And we've talked about traumas before, so there is some trauma that has been experienced, or it doesn't even always have to be a negative experience, but something has happened that has sent your body a message to release certain emotions or certain feelings or certain actions within you whenever those types of actions or content or experiences come back. And it's really important that we take time daily to really look at, why do you feel this way? What's going on? And what is the deeper meaning? Self-reflection is the process of thinking through the what. What happened? What happened? What feeling do you have? And the how. How do you actually feel? How did this happen? How did this come about? And you do that to get to the why. The why is the most crucial part of self-reflection. You need to understand why you feel this way. Why does your body react that way? Why did you have a reaction at all? And understanding the why is how you're going to get deeper into connecting with yourself and hearing those messages from your mind and your soul. And often self-reflection is the way to understanding the why. Hearing the why, but not only hearing the why, but understanding the why it happened, understanding that, and allowing yourself to look at yourself as a whole person with all your experiences and understanding your role in that reaction, and understanding how you can move forward, or how can you heal, or where do you need to actually heal? Where does your effort need to be? And when you understand the why, that is when you can start understanding how to move forward. Similar to journaling, I will also warn you that self-reflection is hard work, because you're now digging deeper. You're digging deep into what your role was in that event or that situation or that circumstance, why you felt that certain way, and where you need to actually put your effort into healing. What wound is still open, or what area do you need to work on in order to allow yourself to heal, to move forward, so that you don't have those reactions or those anxieties. And how can you actually adjust and move forward and heal and spend that energy and that time to move forward? And again, it is hard work, because you will go through difficult times. You will have emotions. You will be raw. And it's so important to really dig deep, to understand, to connect with yourself, because once you self-reflect and you can understand why you feel certain way to a certain item or an event or a person or a workplace or an activity or even an assignment you might get at work or at school or anything, why you feel a certain way. And it's so important, because those events or those people or those comments or that content, that'll come up again and again and again and again in your life. And you have to figure out the why so you can heal. You can figure out where you need to actually heal, and to do that work, to do that grunt work, to heal. Because once you've healed, then those events and those comments or those people that keep coming back, they will keep coming back to your life. It may not be the same person, maybe somebody else with the same content or the same message that'll come back. And at that point, you will be able to get out of that cycle of reaction and be able to just absorb, understand, and actually hear the deeper message, because often people don't talk with malicious intent. They don't intend to hurt you. It's just the way it comes across to you that you process and you react a certain way. Or even the way, other people, they may speak in a certain way because of their traumas or the way that they need to heal that they haven't yet. So it gives you that ability to just connect with yourself, understand where you need to heal, and actually be able to move on so that that does not affect you anymore. And you can then get deeper into understanding yourself and growing. If you take the literal meaning of a reflection, we often think of the mirror. We go to look at mirrors to see our reflection of our body, of the clothes that we're wearing, how it looks, or makeup that you're wearing, how it looks, or your haircut, or just looking at yourself, making sure that you can see what you're doing and how you look, and just to, see how things are going. Self-reflection is literally the exact same thing, but it is when you're looking into your body. You're looking into your mind, your soul, and you're trying to see how you look. You're trying to see how certain things have affected you. Similar to when you put on a certain color. How does that color look on you? You look in the mirror to see. Self-reflection allows you to do the same thing. You reflect to see, how did that comment make me feel? How did my day go today? This is what I did today. How did I actually feel? You can have an amazing and wonderful day, but it's still important to self-reflect, because you need to find out why. Why did you have an amazing day? What was it about today that brought you so much joy and happiness? And how can you recreate that? You need to hear the messages in your body to understand what is bringing you extreme joy, or just a little bit of joy is even fine. And what is just not agreeing with you? What is not bringing you that level of joy? and happiness and peace. So you need to do the self-reflection work in order to understand that. And, if we can get through the things that do not bring us joy and we can understand that, then we know where our boundaries lie, what we want to do and what we don't want to do. And then we can hear ourselves and understand that we need to put ourselves in a place where we can heal and understand our boundaries, and we can explain that to other people as well, because sometimes our family and our friends, they want to talk, they want to call you to talk about anything. And actually I just had a conversation with a friend recently who is on a journey of self-reflection herself, and she said to me, I just can't empathize with people right now. I just, when people want to reach out to me to talk to me about anything or just complain about something, I just don't have the energy to listen. And I said to her, that's fine, because when you're on your own journey, you're so raw, and you need to take that space and you need to create that boundary for yourself to fully understand your feelings and your energies and where you want to place that. And it's okay to let family and friends know that right now you're on your own journey. You cannot and do not want to absorb any external energies that may deplete you, that may cause you to have more anxieties and not be able to get through your journey. So as you're going through this, just a warning, it is hard work. And it's okay to take this time for yourself and to not be there for other people at this time. Take as much time as you need. This is a long-term commitment. It needs dedicated, uninterrupted time, and it is long-term. It's going to take a while for you to get through different things, because sometimes you might not know that you feel a certain way until something happens. And it's a lifelong process. But the beginning, it's hard work, because you do have to get through that learning curve. Similar to anything else that you learn, any other skill you want to learn, there's a learning curve. And that's where it's difficult, because you need to start digging deep into things you may not have reflected on for years and years. So it takes a lot of time to dig through everything, to understand your feelings, set your boundaries, where you're at. And then once you start building that skill, you will start to notice that when you start to feel certain ways, when you start to have certain anxieties, you'll start to pinpoint why, and also the what. What do you need to do in order to address those anxieties and not allow it to take over your day? So what are some benefits to self-reflection? I've spoken about some of it, but you may be thinking, what am I going to get out of it if I have to do all this hard work? The most important thing you will get out of it is that you're going to gain perspective, not only for yourself, but for others and for the world. And you will start understanding that when your friends and your family come to you with issues that they are dealing with or certain events that they've reacted to, you will start to understand, why they may feel like that. You will be able to empathize not only with yourself and give yourself that space and that energy to say, it's okay, because these are my boundaries that were crossed, and that is why I reacted this way. But I can continue to work on my self-healing and on this journey to ensure that the next time this event was to happen, I may not react like that. So it's okay to empathize with yourself, and that's the biggest benefit you will gain. But in addition, you also will start to empathize with others. You will start to look at your family and your friends, and you'll start to understand why they feel certain ways. And I actually saw a quote that was actually shared by Jackie, who was our guest last week, on her Instagram, and it said that once you're healing, you will start to notice certain things. For example, you will notice that your own parents, they're on their own journeys. They have their own concerns. They have their own, list of things that bring about certain feelings for them. They're trying to heal also. They're trying to also understand this life, and they may not have had that opportunity before having you or raising you, but they're there. And I would actually encourage you to reach out to your family and friends, share this podcast with them, let them listen to it on their own, your parents, your grandparents, because as we talked about last week, when you heal, you are not only healing generations ahead of you, but generations before you. So reach out to your grandparents, your parents, because this self-healing journey, or this self-healing movement, I would say, has always been there, but it hasn't been as big as it is today. So they may not have had those opportunities to reflect on their lives and understand where they need to heal to feel happier and joyful. And it's never, never, ever too late. So please share and encourage your family and friends to take this journey themselves, and to experience this knowledge and this ability to be happier and more joyful, and to begin to empathize. So not only will you empathize with them, but they'll begin to empathize back with you and why you behave in certain ways. And, when we're all empathetic to one another, we just generally are kinder to each other. And kindness always is above all. It trumps absolutely everything. You can always be kind. When you also do self-reflection and you start to gain that skill, you'll start to understand what truly actually matters, what's just trivial, and what doesn't matter at all, and you'll be able to allocate your energies to certain things. So, right now you may be feeling that everything is overwhelming, or that, everything is irritating or annoying, or, it may bring about certain, feelings, and you may feel overwhelmed. But once you start self-reflecting and you start to understand, you will see, what is the most important things? What are my absolute knows that these things cannot be touched. These are the things that I hold sacred, and these are the most important things for me, and I am going to put my most energy into these things, or people or events, because they bring me the most joy, they bring me the most happiness, and I feel the most in tune with myself when I'm around those items. So those are most important. The rest of the stuff is trivial, so you don't need to put as much energy into it. You don't need to think about it as much. You don't need to feel that it is as big of a deal. It may be things that are just easy. You understand how to cope with them, and you can move forward. So you need to ask yourself, when you're self-reflecting and you're going through these emotions and understanding why you feel a certain way, or why is your body feeling a certain way, what is your mind trying to tell you, what is your soul trying to tell you? You need to think about, where do you actually want to heal? What is it that you need to heal from? Where do you need to go to understand what you need to heal from, and how actually you need to heal from it, and what do you need to do? Socrates actually said that the unexamined life is not worth living. And that resonates with me so deeply, because when you self-reflect, you can understand how you feel, how others feel, where you need to put your energies, where do you need to put more effort into, what do you want to do more of, what brings you more joy, And for example, for me, I've realized as a child, I absolutely loved riding my bicycle around the neighborhood. That was something that I used to do all the time. Joy, just a feeling of freedom, the wind, blowing through, my hair. I just loved it. It was an adventurous feeling. And so lately I've, been thinking, what can I do to make me feel a bit happier? And, and I realized riding my bicycle is probably what's going to bring me joy. So, I'm in the planning phases of trying to figure out what kind of bike do I want, because that brings me joy. And I'm excited to get back on it and ride through the neighborhoods, to bring my daughter with me, my husband, and, just explore and share that feeling with my daughter for the first time, and see if my husband wants to explore that from his childhood as well. And it's things like that. Once you start healing, you start understanding what used to bring you joy, and you can reinstate that into your world. Similar to when we see memories on our Facebook walls or Instagram walls, or even like when we hear songs that we used to listen to as kids, or like earlier in our lives, it brings a level of happiness, and there's a reason to that. There's a specific reason to that. Similar to what I said in our first episode, you want to aim to thrive in this life. This is all you have got. This is it. This is your only life. So don't cope. Don't just exist. Thrive. Live. And self-reflection is one of the first ways you're going to actually understand what you need to do to thrive and to stop coping. How do you get out of the hamster wheel? How do you start doing things that bring you happiness and joy? You have to ask yourself these questions, and it's worth it. It's so worth it to master the skill of self-reflection. It'll bring you more joy than anything you can ever think of. So what is my experience with self-reflection, you may be asking? I actually have to self-reflect every single day to feel less anxious, to feel more in tune with myself, more connected. I need to understand how my day will be and be prepared for it. I still have a planner that I use every single day. And what I do at the beginning of the day is I look through my planner just to figure out my day. And then I take time to journal every day, every morning. I take time to journal, and every evening also. And I look at, what do I want for today? How do I feel today? When I woke up, how do I actually feel? And why do I feel this way? What did I do yesterday that caused me to feel this way? What did I eat? And same thing in the evening, I think the exact same thing. Why do I feel this way? What did I do today that made me feel this way? I self-reflect to connect deeper with myself and my emotions and my feeling. And honestly, just to be more in control of myself and my day. When I don't self-reflect, or if there's been a couple of days where I've been busy and I haven't, I just feel more anxious, more out of control. I don't really know what's going on, and I need to take that time, that energy to just be alone, uninterrupted, and just sit and reflect. Even certain things, and I'm an emotional eater, so if I'm feeling anxious or I'm not feeling so upbeat or happy, I turn to junk food, and mainly it's baked goods, chocolates, bread, cookies, muffins, anything like that. And when I am having a lot of junk food, I start to think to myself, what is going on in my body and what is actually going on in my mind and my soul that's, making me turn to more junk food and making me want more junk food, because I feel good in the moment, but I don't feel good tomorrow. And it's just a cycle. And once I start having a lot of junk food, it goes on for like a week, because I just continue to make myself feel awful. I have the junk food in large amounts and I wake up the next day, hungover from all the sugar, and I just feel foggy and not happy at all. And then tomorrow, I feel the same way. And again until I just cut it. And then when I cut it, I start getting the headaches from withdrawal. And I start not feeling myself. So how do you stop? And for me, it's just not even starting or limiting myself to, one piece of chocolate. And I just don't allow myself to even get there. But if I am there, and it's okay to be there, but it's important to self-reflect. Why are you there? What's making you do that? And how do you get out of it? So for me, this last week, I actually had a lot of anxiety because I went back to work. Even though I was working from home, I was still in the office for the 8 hours I was supposed to work. And I didn't get to see my daughter, most of that time. And I felt very guilty about that. A lot of anxiety around not being able to be with her and missing her. And she was doing certain things that were new too last week. So I really, really felt bad. She also was having emotions. She was more withdrawn. She just wasn't as smiley and laughing as much as she normally would do. And just not herself. And that brought also a lot of anxiety and guilt for me too. But in addition, it was also my work. I work in public health, so we're in, a public health crisis right now, an emergency, so it's busy. There's a lot of work around that as well. So I had a lot of anxiety, and because I would work the day, then I would try to spend as much time with my daughter in the evening, and I would be tired in the evening. I wasn't working out. The anxiety was causing me to have a lot of junk food, not good food at all, not nutritious, soulful food for my body, junk food mainly. I, felt more withdrawn from my friends and my family because I hadn't really talked to them because I was busy, with work. And, I finally realized that what is going on here? I'm feeling extremely anxious. I'm short-tempered. I'm not pleasant, towards my husband or my family. What is actually going on? And I realized that I was just feeling anxious, but also feeling nervous because my routine, my plan of the day, everything that I had set forth, to do was just not working out. And even this podcast, I tried to be as proactive as possible, but it's Sunday. I'm releasing this tomorrow, and usually I'd have this done a week ago and have enough time to do, put it together and upload it and all that. But I didn't, and that's okay. That's okay because I'm still here. We're still doing this and it still will be up tomorrow. I just have to be able to understand my feelings and why I feel certain ways and anxieties and then set forth a plan for that. For me, it was going out on 1.5 hour long walks with my family, being able to just forgive myself to sit down and just watch a show, enjoy a cup of tea instead of working and, just taking time to set my own boundaries, my new boundaries now, and knowing, this is the time I need to carve out for myself, for my self-reflection. And so what I've been doing actually in the last 1.5 months since quarantine started is I actually grab my coffee in the morning and I go out into our porch and I just sit there for half an hour. And sometimes my daughter will come too and she'll just walk around our porch, which is fine. But I'll sit there and I'll just look at the sky, look at the trees, and I'll just take that time to reflect and just think through my day, my feelings, my emotions, things that may be on my mind, be able to just understand what is going on and where do I need to put effort into it and what do I need to do today. And, for myself and understanding my body and listening to what it has to say, I've realized that for me, exercise is so important. Time outside is so important for me. And taking the time to actually journal is even more important for me because I love pen and paper. I have to just write. Even if it's just doodling, I have to do it because it relaxes my mind, my body, and even brings forward messages for me. And so I'll ask you to, do a little exercise with me and engage here just to see, how you feel and, in doing the self-reflection, how you might react. So there's a lot of different scenarios or stories we all are pretty familiar with. So one of them I'll share is, when somebody wakes up in the morning, they're not feeling very good. They're not in a good mood. They're just, as we say, woke up on the wrong side of the bed. They, go into their kitchen and the family member, someone living with them actually, has left a plate in the sink and didn't clean it. They snap, they get angry, they get mad, and then they move on about their day. So when you self-reflect, when you have that type of reaction, you have to think to yourself, first of all, why did you wake up not feeling so good? Why are you in a bad mood today? What happened yesterday? What did you eat? What did you do? What did somebody say? And why do you feel this way? And then when you snapped, why did you actually snap? What was it about that plate in the sink that caused you to snap? Did that person do something previously that you're still reacting from? Or was it just the first thing that you saw and you said, I'm just going to react about this? You have to ask yourself. Because waking up not feeling good, maybe you didn't get enough sleep. And if you didn't get enough sleep, why? And maybe tonight you'll make sure that you do get enough sleep because you don't want to wake up tomorrow not feeling well. But also, why did you snap? You have to ask yourself why you did that. And you have to reflect on that. And most importantly, you do have to apologize. Apologizing is so important to making not only the person that you snapped at feel better, but yourself too, because you have to apologize to yourself. You have to apologize that you reacted in a certain way because that's not who you are. That's not what you want to do. That's not what your mind and your soul and your body want you to do. But you have to figure out what happened before that led you through this scenario. So ask yourself those questions. And another situation is when somebody says something and you're irritated at that comment. We all have done that or felt that way. Why? Ask yourself why. Why were you irritated at that comment? First of all, why did that emotion come forward of irritation? And what was it about that comment? Was it really the comment? Or was it the person? Or was it your ego? We talked about separating your ego from your body. You have to figure it out. What is it? And why did you feel that way? And how could you actually move forward? So it's important whenever you have reactions, and it's okay to have reactions because we all will forever, for the rest of our life, but it's important to figure out why. Why did you have those reactions? And how can you move forward so you try to not have that much of a reaction or to heal from what is going on? So I'll share some tips and tricks on self-reflection for you. The most important thing about self-reflection, and even on the journey of trying to heal and find your purpose in life, is that you are only in control of yourself. That's it. You are not in control of anybody else, anybody else's reactions, anybody else's behaviors, anybody else's ability to even self-reflect. You cannot tell people what to do or what not to do or how to react or not react. It is not within your control. You are only in control of yourself, how you react, how you heal, and how you move forward. Nobody else. Only focus on yourself and your journey. So it's also important to know that only you can make yourself happier. Nobody is responsible to make you happy. No house, no car, no dog, no expensive item, no food, nothing. Nobody and nothing will make you happy. Only you can make yourself happy. And you need to do that by self-reflecting and sorting out what brings you joy and what doesn't. Where do you need to heal? Where do you need to put your efforts? And why? Why do you need to heal? And why do you have those feelings? And it's only in your control. And I shared a post on my Instagram and my social media that said, everything that you've ever wanted in life is only on the other side of fear. And I know you might be afraid to self-reflect because you don't know what will be there, but everything that you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. So go for it, and you can do it. And if you ever have any questions or you need some guidance or motivation, feel free to reach out, and I'm always happy to help. Another tip that I will share with you is using your pen and your paper to get your thoughts down. We talked about journaling last week, and that is a great medium to get you started. You can visit my blog from last week and the episode as well to look at, what is journaling and how do you get started. And I've given some tips of different types of journals you can get started with, or you can really just take out a book of lined paper and just free flow your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, anything. If it's just one sentence, that's okay too. Or you can just go off tangents. Write a story to yourself of how you feel, because once it's on paper, you feel a weight lifted off of you. But not only that, you can actually review it. You can analyze it. You can see on paper where you need to heal, how you felt the certain ways you felt, and why you felt that way. And you can figure out how you can move forward to heal and to grow. It is important that you keep self-reflecting until you have found the why of why you felt that way, or why you reacted that way, or why that comment specifically brought about certain feelings. You need to keep going until you found the why. Because once you found the why, then you'll be able to understand it. And when you understand the why, you'll be able to create your action plan of how you are going to heal. Or if you know that if you don't reflect in a day, if you don't journal in a day, if you don't take time for yourself to exercise or go for a walk or to ride your bike or to read a book or anything, if you know that these things are things that you absolutely need to have in your day, they are your non-negotiable, then you know you need to incorporate that in your day no matter what. So other things that are negotiable, you can put them aside because these are your non-negotiables. And you know, in order to be in tune with yourself and to heal and to reflect and to be your best self, the best version of yourself, that you need these things in your day, then you will make time for those things. But you need to know what those things are first in order to make sure that you are feeling at your best every day. And even down to, if coffee brings about too much anxiety for you, understanding that and knowing your limits and saying, I can't have coffee every day. Maybe every other day is okay for me. Or maybe I'll switch to tea. Or maybe I'll switch to flavored water or anything. But you need to listen to your body. You need to listen to your mind and your soul in order to understand those boundaries. And that all is in relation to self-reflection. Even intolerances with food, you have to self-reflect. How do you feel today? You had dairy yesterday. How do you feel today? Is that something you can tolerate or not? It's all to do with self-reflection. Because what we eat, what we do, what we say, and who we are around, surround ourselves with, and what we surround ourselves with, that all plays into who we are as a person and how we feel and how we present and how we show up for ourselves every day and show up for our families every day. I will share an article on my blog post from Holsti on self-reflection, and they had shared 6 questions that I thought were so great, and I wanted to share with you on this podcast. And so the first question is around your mind. Do you feel clear-headed, engaged, and intellectually challenged? And these questions are important for you to just ask yourself. If you don't know where to start in terms of self-reflection, just ask yourself these, and then you can get deeper and deeper into it and more specific to your life. Your body. Does your body feel healthy, nourished, and strong? Your soul. Do you feel at peace and connected to the world around you and the people around you? Work. Do you feel interested and fulfilled by what you do? Play. Do you feel joyful? Are you engaging in activities that bring you joy? And finally, love. Do you feel positive about the relationships in your life? So some tools that you can review, and I'll put this also on my blog, is journaling. So just revisit the post from last week's blog and you can see different types of journals that I've used in the past or that I know people around me have used, and you can see what is there, and you can either select those ones or ones just for yourself, or just like I said, a plain journaling book just for you to free flow. I do have a journaling tool on my website that you can sign up for when you sign up for a newsletter, and that'll give you some tips and some more prompting questions and to get you started on journaling. I do recommend going outdoors every day. Take some time to be in nature. You don't have to go for a walk if you are unable to, or you don't want to, or the weather's not great, but just spend some time outside your front door, or just outside in your backyard, or just anywhere. Just spend a moment, just stand, stare at the trees, look around and absorb and just appreciate and be grateful for where you are in that moment. I often go for drives. I love to go for a drive, just no music, nothing, and I just like to reflect. I like to do that because it's just something I like to do by myself, and I'm in emotion, and it just brings me a lot of peace and calming environment and calming feelings to me. Even reading, I like to read a lot, but when I read, I love to reflect and see myself in the emotions of the people in the stories or in the biography. Reflect and understand where they're coming from and seeing if that's something that I've been through or something that I can relate to. But I also do often buy these decks of cards that have prompting questions, and I love to share them with my family and my friends to see what are their answers, how do they think, and it allows me to actually get to know them deeper, and they get to know me deeper, and it's honestly one of my most favorite things. And so there's tons of different types of those decks, and I'll share my affiliate links on my blog for you. You can look at kind of what decks work for you best and what options. There's so many out there. I really, really like the ones from Best Self because they're specific to different scenarios or different lives that you may have. I like table topics for sure. Holsti also has a whole bunch specific to self-reflection that are really, really good. There's a new one that I actually did at the Her Experience with Indigo, and it's called the High Gi. It's a Swedish word for relaxing, and it just allows you to have cozy conversations with people around you. So I'll link them all onto my blog, and you can check them out. And so what I actually want to do this week is, and actually maybe I'll continue this further on, is I wanted to take one question randomly out of my box of table topic cards, and I wanted to ask you. And I want to ask you and have you engage with us and actually share your answer with me on Instagram, either through your stories and tag us in there, a post, or even if you want to send it directly to me to be private, that's okay too. And then I will love to hear what you have to say, and I'll share what I have to say also to the question when I pull the card now. And I'd love to build that community with you, and I'd love for you to actually engage with your followers or people in your family or friends and ask them the exact same question. So let me see what I have. So this is the question that I would like to ask, and I just picked. So what event in the past, present, or future would you like to witness in person? So again, what event in the past, present, or future would you like to witness in person? So there you go. So I'm looking forward to hearing your answers for sure. So for me, what event would I really have liked to experience? Past, present, or future? I actually would really, really like to go into the past. I would really want to experience, I would really actually want to experience how my grandma was born and raised. I think that has been something that's, I've really reflected and thought about over the last year. And I would actually like to know how she, how that happened. And I would like to be a fly on the wall and just be there to see how my grandma grew up, and how she, became so tough and resilient, and, and how, she ended up taking some of those skills forward, some positive, some not positive, but still she took them forward. And I would love to know how she did that, and I would love to experience, because that, how my grandma was raised affected how my mom was raised, and how my mom and her siblings were raised, and how I was raised, and my sister, and how potentially I will raise my daughter. And I would like to actually see that trajectory. Thank you so much for listening to the end of this episode. We would really, really appreciate it if you can subscribe, share, and like our podcast and social media accounts with everybody around you, so we can help to inspire everybody. And remember, when you invest in yourself, you have the ability to catalyze your life from ordinary to extraordinary, but also just to live a much happier, more peaceful life. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.